We're going to strike first. We're going to strike hard. We're going to show no mercy with our review of season 3. Welcome to the Monarch Experience. I am your host, Mr. Ancona, Sensei Ancona, according to my name on the screen right now. And we've got a very special episode of the Monarch Experience today. Here at the Monarch Experience, we are giving students the platform to be able to voice their opinions about what matters to them. And today, we're talking Cobra Kai, Season 3. So obviously, this goes without saying. Spoilers are ahead. If you have not watched season 3 or you don't want the show spoiled, why did you click on a podcast that says Cobra Kai season 3 review? Come on. So we're going to have lots and lots of spoilers. So now is your last chance to go back. But before we move ahead, I want to chat about what I'm so pumped. Student Council and the Monarch Experience have partnered to start a logo redesign contest. So what this means is we are looking to redesign the current logo of the Monarch Experience podcast. I love the current logo. I am forever grateful to Chloe Lee. Chloe, how are you? I miss you. I hope you're doing well. Chloe designed the Monarch Experience logo on very short notice, also, I might add. 3 years ago, when the podcast first launched, she dealt with a lot of my particulars in regards to creating the logo. You're a huge part of getting this podcast off the ground when it first started as quickly as we were able to. So thank you. And Chloe, if you don't know, also designed, I think episodes, I want to say like 5 through 10. She did a modification of the original logo, and you could only see it on anchor.fm. Where she tied in the theme of that episode with the current logo. Some pretty cool stuff, very creative stuff. But the logo design contest, February 18th is our due date. We are looking to have a new digital, it doesn't have to be digitally designed, but those tend to be the better looking ones. You can draw it and scan it if you want. All of the guidelines and the criteria are available on Grade Level Classroom, Google Classroom, or if you want to check your email, I sent an email blast out to everybody. You could always reach out to me and email me with more questions or comments or concerns or whatever it may be. But we're looking for something that captures the vibe, the energy of this podcast, just like Evan and his friends did when they came up with this sweet theme song for the Monarch Experience podcast. Today, we are talking Cobra Kai. But before we even do that, we have one quick major shout out. Alex from my period 2. Alex, major shout out goes your way. You were big part of helping me organize and kind of just get a pulse of what people would want to hear us talk about on this episode. So if we did a great job, thank Alex. If we did not do a great job, blame Alex. Alex, in all seriousness, thanks for being a sounding board for the ideas for this episode. You're the man. Let's get right to it. And today we got 3 amazing students that did make the episode. And they are Rika, who it is not her first rodeo. Rika, tell the audience quiet.
Quiet!
That was good. Sensei Rika has spoken. Layla, it is your first time on the Monarch Experience. It is great to meet you. You want to tell the audience to be quiet, Sensei Lauren style?
Quiet!
Nice. I like it. And then Vinnie, huge Cobra Kai fan. Vinnie, you want to tell our audience to be quiet?
Quiet!
Nice. That was a great duplicate of the first one. Layla was ready. Well, it is awesome to get to meet you guys, aside from Rika. Rika, it is not that it's not great to meet you. It's just we've met before. All right. So as we're about to delve into this whole conversation about the Cobra Kai Season 3, how long did it take you to binge this show? Because for me, it did not take us very long at all. But I also like to, when I'm really loving a show, I like to kind of like pace myself. Vinnie, what are your thoughts? How long did it take you to binge this show? Season 3 at least.
And it took us max 3 days.
Rika, how long did it take for you to binge?
It took me 2.5 days to finish watching everything. My dad already started watching it before I did. So once he was like watching the second episode and I got hooked to it. So I watched it, the 3rd season, and then I went to the 1st and 2nd.
All
Doesn't
right.
make sense, but yeah.
Nice. Layla, how long did it take you to binge season 3?
Okay, well, I already watched season 1 and 2, so I was like on YouTube channel, subscribed to stuff, and just saying, when is it gonna come out? When is it gonna come out? And then when it came out, I watched it with my family.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I know people who are like, some of my students were like, yeah, I binged it literally in one day. I spent 24 hours and I just watched it, which isn't that crazy. They're only like half hour to 40-minute episodes. So, if you have family members that are willing to bring you food, I think very doable. Very doable. All right. So I think there's no other place to start before we do a deep dive than to chat about who our favorite characters are.
Like, I just love Hawk. I feel like he's like a really big part of the conflict, I feel like. Like, not just the conflict I meant like the whole plot, the whole like show. He's entertaining. Because the way I'm like, when you asked us our favorite character, like who are like our favorite characters, I chose it, because it's relatable or whatever, but also for entertainment purposes, how they, use the show, how they did on the show. But I loved Hawk in the show. He's like, oh my God, best character.
Dude, every time when I think it was like season 1 at least, every time they showed him and they made the caw noise in the background, my wife and I could not stop laughing. Like nothing that came after that. We didn't hear anything. We just were laughing the whole time. But that guy who plays Hawk, I have such strong feelings for the actor who plays him because his facial expressions are amazing. Because he can go from looking like a scared little boy and looking like this kid who is bullied and picked on and just like weak to as soon as he lowers his brows and like drops his eyes, he looks like the world's biggest jerk. Like he's got this look in his eyes that just changes his entire dynamic. And I don't know what else he's been in, but I think he's a fantastic actor. Layla, that right there. People can't see that, but I can see it. I think just the facial expressions alone that he's able to make, I think convey so much about this character that is literally both. He's both. He's both like the tormented kid that gets picked on, and he's also like this ruthless, horrible human being at times that is a bully. So Vinny, I hear you, man. I love Hawk. Sensei Rika, who is your favorite character?
My favorite character would be either Hawk or Miguel, because like obviously Miguel's the main character, and I love the part where Hawk just turned on Cobra Kai and joined Dimitri. So like that was my favorite part.
What do you love so much about Hawk?
Basically the aura of coolness he has around him. Like
Okay.
just a sensation. Like everyone's like, oh, Hawk, he's scary. Stay away from him. Like
Did you say the aura of coolness? That was my nickname in college, actually. The aura of coolness is here. Oh man, no one's gonna hear you laughing, which is even sadder. I can see you laughing, and that's all that matters to me. Layla, who is your favorite character and why?
Okay, one of my favorite characters, I do not care what people say, is Tori.
Why Tori?
Because
She's so evil.
Because people just see her as evil, but it's really just like she has like this big thing going on. Then Miguel betrayed her, and then Miguel sort of kissed Sam, which I guess pulled her over the edge, and then Sam and her had that confrontation, and it's just like you have to look at both sides of the story in order to fully understand it, because you can't look at like the Johnny side and just say, oh, Tori's a jerk, because that's not really the story.
Vinny, what are your thoughts? You feel strongly against?
I I like her. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, she's a good character. I'm not against her.
Yeah.
I'm so against what you just said. You said the only reason she's mean is because what's happening behind her. Just because of what's happening like behind, like just what's happening in her life doesn't give her any excuse to make other people's other lives worse. Like she doesn't have the right to be bullied just because she has a bad life.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but don't you ever think that influences her? Like it did with Robbie, because he felt like no one was there for him. Then he went to Kreese, and Kreese was there for him. Even though Johnny and Daniel, we're both nice. That doesn't mean that they're gonna go running to you. Tori might have found sanctuary in Cobra Kai, even though her past, that doesn't make her to be a jerk, but she found sanctuary in that. And you can't just say, even though she had a bad life, she can't be a jerk. You're right, but even though she had a bad life, she might have found something. Those influences might have led her to the bad Cobra Kai in general.
Layla, I think that's a great point. This is going to really transition beautifully into where we're going to go, I think, next to this conversation about Kreese's background and whether or not that makes him more sympathetic. And I think that's what this show does such a great job of. It takes the past and applies it to where the characters are now. It shows that they all have, in some kind of way, some type of reason, even if it's not reasons that we personally would agree with or could sympathize or even empathize with. But I think that's what makes the writing of this show so great. Do you think that Kreese's backstory, because that's a place I did not see them going when I was excited for season 3, do you think that backstory made him more sympathetic? Because I kind of see it almost like the prequels for Star Wars, with giving Darth Vader and Anakin just like a little bit more humanity to him. Because we've only seen Kreese as this like cold-blooded jerk. That word jerk is going to come up a lot, I feel like, on this episode. Rika, go ahead.
I sort of think that it makes him look more human, even though we can tell that he's really evil. But we can see that he's lost his mom in the scene where it's not the backstory, but he tells that to Tori, and in the flashback, the general tells him that he didn't tell him that Betty died, and the point was that he didn't let him live because the general didn't tell Kreese that Betty was dead because he thought that would make him weak.
I felt so bad. I can't believe these words are going to come out of my mouth, but like I felt so bad for Kreese in both of those instances. What was so cool was the first flashback. Didn't you all think that Kreese was going to be the jock with like the varsity jacket when they sat down at the diner, where he was like, "You got to show no mercy," and like, so I'm immediately like, "Oh, they're gonna do." And so, and I immediately thought, "What's the point of showing this flashback when this guy already is such a jerk?" Like,
because that's where the no mercy part comes from, and the part where he shoves his general down into that snake pit is where the Cobra Kai name comes from.
Yeah, and did you and Layla and Vinnie, I want to hear your thoughts in a second on Kreese's backstory. And did you catch when he got into the fight with the varsity jerk in the and he protected his future wife? Did you catch that he swept the leg? How good is that? Layla, go ahead.
Okay, so about this, I definitely agree with Rika on it. Can't really add anything more to that. And I think to answer your Mr. Ancona's question, I think they showed that backstory to show that even though he might seem like a total jerk on the outside, he's not really that bad, and people have empathy in them. So you can't just go off writing it off. And also, I think you should, with my opinion, I think you should judge Kreese a little less once you see his backstory. And yeah, you should judge Kreese a little less and think about it a little more before you just write him off, and just, I guess, balance or something.
Yeah, I think, Layla, I think that's a fair point. And before we jump to Vinnie, and I'm curious what Vinnie thinks about this. Layla, I'm curious what you think about this, though, because you felt so strongly about justifying Tori's position. But we saw what happened when someone who is incredibly vulnerable gets manipulated. And that's kind of what Kreese ends up being. Tori is someone who is in a hard place, totally vulnerable, not just because of her position, but also because she's a kid. I mean, do you think that's going to lead her to the same path that Kreese ended up? Or do you think that there's a redemption story for her? Layla, I'm curious what your thoughts are.
She's just blinded by anger, and it's just like, it just goes on top of her, and she can't really see the inside of it because, like, so many things are happening. And I think she might go down the same path as Kreese, but, like, if she tries to get help or, like, gets over it or something, she may end up at least like a Daniel or a Johnny at worst.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think, and we could talk more about this later. I kind of see Tori being maybe the redemption story in season 4, but it's like you can't have Tori and Robbie both get redeemed. That just feels like such a after school special. Like everything is wonderful. But we'll get more into that a little bit later. Vinny, what are your thoughts on the Kreese backstory? More sympathetic, less sympathetic?
I feel like I'm sympathetic for the guy. I mean, he lost his like future wife, but like I've lost family. I feel like it's just like that's life. You lose people. Yeah, it's like I can't imagine living without a wife or whatever. And she died so early. That's sad. I mean, everyone loses someone, but like he's still a jerk.
I think Vinny, I think that's fair. And I imagine that's kind of where they were going with this, right? Show a reason for him being the way he is. But I don't think it's going to excuse in most people's eyes all of the terrible things that he's done. Karate Kid 1, 2, and like what he's done in all of the Cobra Kai episodes. So I agree with you. I think that it probably isn't so much maybe to create sympathy, but just to kind of delve a little bit more into what's kind of been a one-dimensional character up until now.
It's still that aspect, and it's still he might be a jerk, and I sort of think he's a jerk, but basically it gets into the backstory like Mr. Ancona said, and it gets into the backstory, shows more empathy.
So, and I think in the same vein of this backstory with Kreese, I think what we're seeing, and again, the writers just do such a great job. Of course, the English teacher is going to look at this through the lens of like writing and creating and like the development of characters. The past influencing the future seems to be such a huge part of this show thematically. I think from the use of the flashbacks through all 3 seasons, how great were those flashbacks, by the way? Like, I've never seen Karate Kid 2. I didn't know I had to. And I've never seen Karate Kid 3. So my wife and I turned to each other and we were like, oh, snap. Does this mean we need to watch Karate Kid 2 to understand this? I didn't know that was homework, but the flashbacks are done so well. And I think are a visual reminder of how much the past influences the future. The past influencing the future is such a huge part of the show. Which relationship or what characters did you see that having the most effect on? I think that you're seeing that with like Daniel and Chosen and Kumako. And I think you're seeing that with Johnny and his son. I think you're seeing that with Johnny finally not messing something up in his life. That was a big moment in my house. We're like, don't mess this up, Johnny. Don't mess this up. Stay away from Allie. Don't kiss her. And like Kreese's flashbacks, I think like Mr. Miyagi's past and the love letters that he had been sending. There's so much where the past influences what these characters do. Which one do you feel like?
That's what I was saying about the Kreese thing. Past influencing the future. Wrap it all up. Okay. And I think with your question is that I think one of the biggest ones is definitely, well, actually the 2 biggest ones is Johnny and Kreese and Daniel and Johnny. Because they showed that Daniel and Johnny thing throughout season 1 and 2 also, so you get a hint that's big. And also like with Johnny, he showed like it was Kreese and they showed the flashbacks like when Kreese punched his hand and he got like hurt with the scabs and stuff, which was in Karate Kid 1. And so it shows that too, and then shows the past influencing the future. So with Johnny and Kreese, it sort of repeats itself again because Johnny trusted Kreese, and then it's going to repeat himself again because Kreese is not nice.
Rika, go ahead. Which character, which past influencing the future had the biggest effect on you?
For me, it was the flashbacks with Mr. Miyagi. And I think the part where Daniel decides to go to Tokyo and where he remembers what Mr. Miyagi taught him, that I love those parts where Mr. Miyagi comes in and like those wisdom bombs that he drops.
They are wisdom bombs. I love that. And I think it helps make Daniel seem much more grounded when he needs to be the most grounded, because I don't know about you guys, but I ended up feeling like Daniel is just so bitter and such like a punk. And in like every season, my wife and I kept turning to each other and we're just like, oh my God, Danny, like let it go. You've got a beautiful wife. You've got a beautiful family. You've got this thriving dealership. Like you won. You are the man. And you're just like, he can't help taking shots at Johnny where he's like, you spent the whole day together with him? Like, dude, come on, man. Is that me or did anybody else feel like Danny kind of is portrayed? Layla, what do you think?
Yeah, I did think what you were thinking because it was like, yeah, you won. And they also showed that in the third season too when Amanda got the landlord to shut him down. But I did like that Kreese did fight back. And it's like you just trying to take power, but you already won. Johnny's like in a place and drinking beers and stuff and still being sexist as hell. And you won, so just stop.
In a way, it's like that episode 9 of season 3 with Allie Mills Schwarber's character coming back. With that character, like she played such a pivotal role. And the whole thing where she was like, she was the reason. It feels like she was like the catalyst that created this rivalry with Johnny and Danny back in Karate Kid. And I think it's so fitting to have that character be the one that kind of has them reconcile. And again, the past influencing the future. That whole episode was just like two dudes like reliving their high school experience. And there's nothing at times more insufferable than people reliving their high school experience. Back when we were in high school, I used to bench 325. And it's like, oh, okay, old man, that's nice. And that's what it felt like. It felt like two dudes just going back and forth about it. And while it was cool, there was a sense of like them living in the past. What's your reactions to all this?
Honestly, I feel like the show was done so well that for me personally, it's not repetitive. I mean, it's repetitive, but it's like not affecting me at all. Like I know it's repetitive, but like it's not repetitive. You know what I mean? It's just such a good. They did so well. There's always something new. I feel like, and always something that is like it's still different. It's just the whole show is different from the Karate Kid movies, except that it's kind of based on the same rivalries.
And Vinny, what stood out to me a lot was like how the show did such a great job of making you feel like Johnny is better than Daniel. And then they flip it. And then the next episode, you're like, no, you know what? Johnny is a loser. Like Johnny's this loser and he's an adult now and he's making choices and that he has to suffer the consequences. Daniel was right the whole time. And then the next episode, I'm like, actually, you know what? Daniel's kind of a jerk. Like Daniel has this coming and I feel for Johnny. And I just think those characters feel so much more realistic than maybe they felt in the original Karate Kid. I don't know if that's just me. Rika, what are your thoughts? What characters kind of had an impact on you? What relationships had an impact on you as far as the whole past influencing the future?
I think my favorite moment was the Chosen and Daniel part when when Daniel's like scared the Chosen is gonna do something to him, and he actually is like, "I'm a kind person. Don't worry. I'm just gonna help you," and I love that part.
The honk. That's great. Yeah, I seriously thought, I mean, I was not familiar with the Chosen character, but I mean, again, the show does such a great job of just catching you up just like that with the flashbacks. And when they did that, I was like, oh no, this is not good. But I love that what you're seeing so much of is like all of these people and their experiences, what they're learning, they can apply somewhere else. So he did the pressure point attack. And then you got to see Daniel do that to Kreese and like save his life. Rika? Oh yeah, with the hand, like, oh God. I thought Chosen was gonna kill him, like right in the woods right there when he did it. And I was like, oh my God, he dislocated his arm. It's over. So well done. What is your favorite scene? And we can keep this focused on season 3, but if you want to go elsewhere, you can. Vinny, what's your favorite scene?
When Hawk turned.
Yeah?
It's not just because he did turn. I mean, I like that he turned and all. It's cool and all. 'Cause he went to good side, even though he did change sides. I mean, I did like that and all, but it was just such a good fighting scene, and even though you might have been rooting for Cobra Kai, I don't care if you did, but no matter which side you are, it gave that burst of energy and excitement into you. Oh, it was just such a sick scene, and the fighting was really cool too.
The fight scene was amazing, but as an adult, my perspective on this was so different. Where I was just like, "They're destroying their house! Like, get out of their house! Like, take this outside!" Every fight you see in every movie and every stereotype is always, "You want to take this outside? At least have the respect for the establishment that you are in to not destroy their property, breaking glass and table. You know how expensive that table must have been? You know how expensive? That's probably oak." Knowing LaRusso Auto, how much money they're making, that was probably an oak table, and they're just breaking things like nothing. Unreal. Vinny, I got to ask you a question though. What made that scene your favorite though? Did you see the turn coming, or was that a shock for you?
I mean, like not even like a minute before he turned, like he was fighting this guy and threw a glass pot on his head. He was doing that, and you can tell that he was like he liked it or something. But like then the next 30 seconds, he just turns. Like it was just unexpected. But
Yeah.
I liked it because the fight was so sick.
It kind of felt like, I like what you said, like he was almost enjoying hurting the other people, but then when he saw other people hurting Dimitri, it almost became like that family dynamic where it's like, I can make fun of my family, but don't you dare say anything bad about my family. Like only I can do that. Like only I can break my former best friend's arm, but don't you dare to do it in some kind of sick, twisted way. I kind of saw the whole yeah. I kind of saw the turn happening for a while. So if you want to rewatch season 3, do it and pay attention to Hawk and Kreese, because there was this constant battle of like Hawk being like, "That's not what Sensei Lawrence taught us. That's not what this is supposed to be." And then when they brought in the other guys, they were like, Hawk was like, "I don't like this," and it almost looked like Hawk was being replaced. And I thought that again, it felt very like Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine, like, where it's like, I don't need you. I could replace you with any other angsty, angry person. So, Vinny, it was a great scene. Rika, what do you think? What was your favorite scene?
Yeah. So my favorite scene was when Johnny and Daniel come together and are almost gonna defeat Kreese, but then Sam and Miguel come. But that was my favorite part because that's when they show that Johnny's past is sealed. He's no longer Cobra Kai, and he's showing mercy.
Yeah. I mean, and that has to, like, that is a huge part for that character. What do you think of the name Eagle Fang?
I love the part when they're like, "Eagles don't have fangs."
It's so great. Oh man, Eagle Fang might be it actually sounds like the name of a really bad 80s heavy metal band. Like, we are Eagle Fang. Layla, what was your favorite scene in season 3?
Okay, so one of my favorite scenes of season 3 is when Robbie and those Kreese scenes. I know people, and I don't really care. People on here or listeners think I'm Cobra Kai. I'm doing air quotes. Pro Cobra Kai. And I'm just looking at the other side too. And I just want to say that it's one of my favorite scenes because it's like, wow. It's like, what's going to happen next? Whoa, I didn't expect this or something.
Awesome. My favorite scene, I mean, look, I'm a big rock fan, and I'm a big Twisted Sister fan, a huge Twisted Sister fan. So my best friend, who I've seen many Twisted Sister concerts with during my youth. Oh no, I'm that guy reliving his high school experience. But when he texted me, was like, "Dude, you need to see Cobra Kai season 3. You'll know." But when they had Dee Snider up on stage singing "The Kids Are Back," I actually launched out of my seat and looked at my wife and was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing. It's Dee Snider." She's like, yeah, I know. It's an old guy who sings 80s metal. Like, sit down, relax. I was genuinely thrilled. And then when I'm getting like goosebumps just even saying it, audio goosebumps. But when then you see Miguel's foot start to tap, and the first time he's able to like move his feet to Twisted Sister, all the feelings, had all of the feelings imaginable. And I think that tells us that Miguel is able to regain the use of his feet through the power of metal. And the music is amazing too. As someone who loves 80s metal and 80s music, getting to hear Wasp and Motley Crue and all that, just such great use of really great music during the time. We kind of skimmed the surface, but there's so many other places we can go with breaking down season 3 of Cobra Kai. Where do you see season 4 going? I mean, obviously, I think the big one is going to be the fun dynamic of Johnny and Daniel finally putting aside their differences to make it work. They're going to have to bicker, right? That's kind of the joy of their relationship. Let's go there before we talk about who Kreese is on the phone with. How do you guys see Johnny and Daniel working together next season? How much of a disaster is it going to be, Vinny?
Like, remember when he was in the car for the first time, and like he was like when they were on their way to try to find Robbie, I think they were still fighting, but like still kind of friends. I feel like that, but just a little bit more of like still kind of bickering back and forth and fighting a little bit, but like adding on a little bit more of that friendship that like they were in the car when they were trying to find Robbie in that in season 3. But yeah, I think it's gonna be like real. It's like if how like best friends might fight or like brothers might fight, kind of like that, but a little bit less friendship than like a brother, but more than like they've ever shown.
Vinny, I think that's great insight and great reference too, because that scene when they were in the car going to the prison, they showed they can work together for a common cause. So I think it'll be interesting. Really great groundwork that was being laid there. Rika, what do you think? How do you think this is going to go down with the two of them working together?
I think that they will have their fair shares of like petty fights. Like, no, this should be the first thing that should happen. We should train them. Like, instead of like painting the fence, Johnny would be like, no, we need to give them proper training and that type of stuff. But I think that in the end, they know that they are supposed to reach the same goal of training all the students to defeat Kreese's Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I well said. I agree with everything both of you guys are saying. Layla, what do you think? How do you think this is going to go down?
I think this is going to go down like Rika and Vinny both said, and I just want to add to that, and I know I started before, I'm not going to do that again, and I just want to add to that it might lead to some big, and I hope it leads to something big, and I know I'm pro, and I know people say I'm pro Cobra Kai, but I really hope it leads to like some of them going to Cobra Kai or something to make it interesting, because like you need a bad, and I like the bad.
Yeah, some might change, but that's something that actually might maybe be repetitive. There's been so many sign changes, many.
Yeah.
And then like when I mean honestly, I was fine with Cobra Kai winning, but the fact that I just don't want Robbie to win. I hate Robbie. Awful. Hate him so much.
Vinny, I do think it might be a bit tiring for them to keep going back to the switch sides and the turns. I don't think I ever thought of that as I'm pumped for season 4. I would love a change then. I would love, Vinny, if they didn't have any turns, because I think that is a bit predictable. Great call, man. Absolutely great call. Rika, what are your thoughts?
I was gonna say a similar thing to Vinny, because like they already have many twists and turns with the moving sides thing, because with Robbie, with Miguel, with Hawk, and with Dimitri at the beginning going back and forth between Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do and that type of stuff, because I think now there's enough switching sides and they should like get to the final battle. I think season 4 is going to be the end.
I get both your points, but then otherwise it's going to be boring, or it's going to be at least boring in my opinion, and probably I think that'll be the end of Cobra Kai, because if like they all just go battle it out, someone will win, someone will lose, gonna be the end, so I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, so a couple of things on that. I am a big fan of ending a season too early than a season too late. I'd rather be able to look back on Cobra Kai and go, I'd rather be able to go back and say, like, you know what? 4 seasons was amazing. Then 4 seasons was good, but 5 kind of started falling apart. But I hear what you're saying. This is only a reference that I think Mr. Fine will get. But all these turns back and forth, it just feels like I'm watching the Big Show's career. Nobody's going to get that except for Mr. Fine. So that's for you. I do think here's what I see happening in season 4. I think that Daniel and Johnny are going to work together overall just fine. I think, like all of you said, there's going to be some bickering here or there, but I think the focus is going to shift onto either Tori, her redemption, or Robbie's redemption in some way, or Johnny making good with Robbie in some kind of way. Because I think that's what is such a huge theme within the show, is that forgiveness is the way to move forward. So I think that the characters either have to forgive themselves or they have to forgive others in order to move forward. So that's kind of where I see the focus being, which I think would be a nice change. And I wonder what you guys think. I think it would be a nice change from the typical, all right, we're on a 4th season now of Daniel and Johnny constantly bickering back and forth. And then it kind of just becomes like sitcom-like. What do you think? Are you, real fast, are you over them going back and forth to this extent? Like Vinnie said, is it too predictable?
It
Rika,
better be a good switch. It better be at the right time. It better be in the right place. It better be the right person.
Yeah, season 4 is I imagine, is gonna end with this tournament, right? So who are the final 2 in the tournament? Is it Miguel and Robbie again?
I think Sam's gonna be in the tournament.
No. Robbie, Miguel. If Miguel's not in the last 2, I never feel like allowed. Like I have 6 people who I think will. I have 6 people who will make it to no. 6 people who make it to quarterfinals. I have an idea, but I definitely
give us the
feel
final 2.
I honestly don't think it's. Honestly, it would be a surprise if it's Sam and Tori. I mean, I'm not gonna be surprised if it is, but I'm not gonna be surprised if it's not. But like, I definitely feel like it should be Robbie Miguel, but I feel like a lot of people are gonna find that repetitive, or maybe like Hawk and Robbie. I mean, I really don't know.
Vinny, I got a thought for you. Would it be repetitive if the sides are turned? Because Robbie was the hero and Miguel was being trained by Cobra Kai, right? In season 1. Am I messing that up?
Sorry,
Go
but
ahead.
There is no good or nor evil in this show. They're both their same way, just like Chris said.
Well, Layla, I think you're bringing up an interesting point. I think the show does a nice job of kind of showing that there is no clear-cut good and clear-cut bad, because they're all responsible for their actions. Like, they all, like, the things Robbie did to Miguel, like, I think we kind of looked back and said, whoa, what a bad guy. But in the context of when it's happening, I don't think it's that clear cut. So, Layla, I think you did it. I think that's accurate. I think there isn't as clear as we're used to a good guy and a bad guy, or a good side and a bad side. Rika, what are your thoughts?
I have 3 big pairs that I think are gonna make it to the finals. It's either gonna be Sam and Tori, which I think we already spoke about, and then Miguel and Robbie. And I think I think it's Tori and what was that? Tori and Miguel.
Yeah.
Because like now they are in this bad position and they're like really mad at each other, and Miguel is actually mad at her for like trying to beat up Sam and stuff, and for not stopping, for not stopping and still beating up everyone, even though he asked her not to and show mercy. But yeah.
I think what it comes down to with the finals, I think it's going to be which characters do they see as the central focus of season 4? And then I think it's which characters are the vehicle to bring this thing to an end, to be an English teacher, of course. What is the lens that they're going to be focusing on this through? Who are the ones that are going to take this whole dynamic and put it to end?
I think it's going to be Sam versus Robbie, and then like in the 2 final matches, it's going to be Tori versus Sam and Miguel versus Miguel. I don't know, because like the top Cobra Kai have sort of gone to the other side, so it's like sort of
they may
hard
have to develop
explain.
somebody. Yeah, they may have to develop somebody at that point.
every single, like, extra, how in like a movie there's always that like one person who's just drinking coffee randomly. I feel like in so many movies, and especially this, all these like extra and backup characters drive the whole story and plot. So I just feel like, yeah, Kyler is one of those background characters, but like one of those background characters who are actually like more important than you know.
Yeah, Vinny, I think that's really well said. I think to go back to this word, it's kind of on my mind, I guess. They become catalysts for the bigger character. Like they need that side character, like you said, like a Kyler or whoever, so that that bigger character can grow. So as we're winding down here and we're getting towards the end, I think one of the things I'm looking forward to in season 4 is just kind of seeing how this theme of forgiveness is how to move forward or how this continues to develop. I don't know, but can you have Johnny and Daniel forgive Kreese? Or is Kreese really the focal? I see a lot of head shaking. Or is Kreese the focal point to get Daniel and Johnny to forgive one another fully? I think it's the latter of the two, because I just don't see how you can erase all of the damage that Kreese has done. But between Johnny and Daniel, you've got Hawk and Dimitri, obviously, and their forgiveness. Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang. My God, I love that name. Like, and their forgiveness and all the groups within there with the betrayals and backstabbing. And then also, like, I think Miguel being able to move forward, right? Being able to kind of surpass his fear of being paralyzed and having that anger and holding on to that hatred. Again, sounds like Star Wars. Daniel and Chosen, Carmen and Johnny, all of these characters, I think, have to forgive in order to move forward. And I think that becomes like a central theme that we're seeing. Rika, final thought as we get out of here.
I don't think that they will be able to forgive Kreese because I get that their point is to have mercy, but there's only so much mercy you can show. And Kreese tried to choke Johnny just for coming in second place, even though he tried his hardest. And Daniel was able to beat him because of the crane kick. So, that's not
Yeah.
Johnny's fault. He didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
So my final thought is that just like within the beginning, that it's going to be hard, but from the past that Kreese might be a good person on the inside, which may lead to a deeper understanding of Kreese and maybe like, oh, okay. So
And Layla, I'm sure there are a lot of people who are kind of like, no, but they did the same thing with Johnny, right? They took Johnny Lawrence's character from Karate Kid and they wrote him in this way that showed just you felt for him. You had feelings for him that you felt like maybe the circumstances in the world has just been a bit unfair for this dude. So it's not, while I don't personally anticipate that happening, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. All right. Thank you to Vinnie, Layla, and Rika for another fantastic Monarch experience, for another Monarch review, maybe we're going to call it. That's a terrible name. If you are looking to get on a future episode, we max out at 3, so please make sure that you email me as soon as possible. If you're thinking of a new topic for an episode, I'm all ears. There's no topic that gets shut down. It's just a matter of us trying to figure out like how to frame it so that it is listenable and something that can engage our audience. Make sure you follow us on social media, on either Twitter at the Monarch XP or on Snapchat at the Monarch Experience Podcast. Make sure you're looking for the logo, the current logo, and this way you can stay notified on all the happenings that are going on, ideas for new podcasts. You can interact, you can disagree with our guests. You can find our podcast on any platform the podcasts are found: iTunes, Spotify, Anchor.fm, our hosting platform, where you can get it everywhere: Breaker, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, any place that podcasts are found. And until next time, stay safe, stay hungry, quiet.